going?
Yeah, what's up, Corridor Cast?
We're live.
What's up? It's the Corridor Cast
Hey, what's
featuring
up,
Wren,
everyone?
Dean, and myself.
Who?
Myself.
And who's that?
Oh, wow. If they don't recognize my voice by now, if you're not seeing the video version, I don't really know what to tell you. But, yeah, here we go.
Dude, I missed the guitar intros. What happened to the banjo?
Yeah, I don't know. What happened to them?
Kind of a
You know,
thing.
they went the way of the
Guillotine.
The guillotine, right?
Disassembled and thrown away. Anyway, it's been a few weeks since we've done the podcast. It's been particularly busy here the last couple weeks. We've just not been able to make it happen on these Wednesdays, but here we are today. But you know what that means? It means we've got a lot to talk about. There's a lot of things to cover.
Yeah.
A few things that I kind of want to touch on. One, we recently did a satisfying render challenge.
Yeah.
I kind of want to talk about that a little bit. There's also some unrest happening in LA. We can kind of dive into that a little bit, perhaps later.
Honestly, I think we should hit that right away. I see everyone in the comments is curious about what's going on, and
Okay.
Hey, real quick, if you watch the show every week and you want to support us even more than that, check it out. We got new merch. Look at this. Sam made this himself. He basically took the corridor logo and deconstructed it into this cool perspective hallway thing, or a corridor, if you will. It's available for a limited time only from June 14th to the 23rd. And if you're a corridordigital.com subscriber, guess what? You get 15% off on your merch purchases, which actually saves you money with the $4 subscription. I'm just saying, if you want the t-shirt or the hoodie, go to corridordigital.store and you can support us in making more videos. Check it out. It's cool.
I didn't personally visit it, but our studio is
We're like
down the street.
Is basically
We're about a couple miles from it.
Yeah, a couple miles, but like a 10-minute one-wheel ride, 15-minute.
Less. I mean, it's literally so Monday night after
the point
work,
is we're close to it.
Yeah.
We're pretty close to everything.
I was basically offline all weekend, so I didn't even realize most of this was going on over the weekend. But Jan lives in Skid Row. He lives downtown, and he was in the thick of it all weekend long, and was like, riding around his one wheel, checking out all the. He was like. He wasn't there when the Waymos were burning, but him and Alex were there afterwards and were like checking out the piles. They were shooting zircons and stuff like that at people, tear gas and whatnot. I had no idea, so on Monday I went out with Jan. By Sunday afternoon I started realizing what was going on when I plugged back into the world, and I was like, what?
The same thing happened with me too. It's funny. I started getting texts from relatives being like, "Oh, I hear what's going on," blah blah blah, blah. And I'm like, "What do you mean? What's going on?"
Yeah, and that's
So,
the
like,
other-
how do you guys figure this out first before me?
Doesn't it remind you guys a lot of the fires where everybody's like, LA's on fire right now? It's
no,
great.
it is a lot like
outside
that.
the city.
And that's because the images coming out of this are hitting the front page of Reddit, and they're very eye-catching images, like cars on fire, dudes breaking windows and jumping up and down, flying flags and all this stuff, and it's it just looks like anarchy and pure just rioting chaos, and it's not exactly what's going on. And where it is happening is just a singular few locations in the heart of downtown LA, and people forget that LA is one of the vastest cities in
It's humongous.
the country.
like if you could literally expand those photos of the chaos, you would see that there's just people walking by. It's like
It's a little bit of that. It's
we've
definitely a
cropped in-
focal length kind of situation.
So Monday night after work, I rode my one wheel out into town. It basically started at Little Tokyo, and that's literally just a mile and a half, 2 miles from here.
I'm really sad that Little Tokyo got hit with I just feel bad that they're on the periphery of all these protests and riots, because Little Tokyo is kind of one of the nicest places in downtown.
To be clear, it was just protests there. The rioting was mostly Sunday, and by rioting, I'm making the distinction.
I don't even truly know the extent of what's going on. I just saw a bunch of stuff in Little Tokyo got tagged, and I feel bad because it's one of the cleanest, crime-free areas of downtown.
Yeah,
it's they keep it really, really nice. I don't know why. I don't know if it's just because of
the streets kind of suck.
Japanese culture, all the Japanese people running Little Tokyo or something like that. I don't get it. What they pay extra security or something. I don't know what it is, but it's kind of sad.
Yeah, and so the distinction I'm trying to make is that the vast majority, we're talking 99.99% of the people out there are just peacefully protesting.
Oh, yeah.
And yet,
everyone else
in the world thinks that it's a war zone. and it's just not.
Yeah.
The cops, for the most part, are just standing there bored. And there are a lot of them. I have never seen so many cops in my entire life. I went out there literally just a couple miles away. This is where it started, and Jan and I met up, and we kind of just rolled around downtown. There's so many different blocks where they've got like 30 cops standing shoulder to shoulder just blocking off that road. And then you go one block over, another road, 30 cops shoulder to shoulder. And then you go down another few roads and go down around. It's like they got all the bridges crossing the 101 completely closed off. And I've got this one crazy shot of all of the cop cars lined up. And you can literally see probably like 50 cop cars with their lights going. And I exposed down so you can see it better. Let me see if I can just find this real quick. It is not that one. I'm almost there, sorry.
But I think for context, like the 92 riots, this isn't even in the same universe of what's
No,
because
because that was a lot more of a riot. That was more anarchy.
That was a riot.
Yeah, and and the 92
I mean,
riots like really has informed every police response after that. They really they send out the police
I don't know
immediately.
how easy you can see this, but there's like all these cop cars just like lined up down a street.
I mean, even compared to like the 2020 stuff, like this is
The George Floyd
nothing
protests
honestly.
and BLM. It's this definitely felt different. There were a couple people that would throw fireworks. One guy threw a firework. And we're talking like those big ones that make big colorful like bursts in the air. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're just hucking them. They light them and huck them. And I was towards the front of one of these, and it landed near me, and it hit the ground, and I was like, "Oh God!" And fortunately, I had just put my earplugs in.
Oh, wow.
Because I didn't even have a chance to put my hands up to my ears before it exploded, maybe 10 feet from me.
Yeah, dude.
Oh my God.
And those are so loud.
It was so loud. With my earplugs in, it was still loud. I was like, but I was scared of the police reaction. I was afraid they're going to be like, "Oh, it's over now." Like they're just waiting.
Yeah.
That wasn't really the case. They were pretty calm and collected about it.
Yeah.
But
it's not the case when there's police. Now, if you insert Marines, that's a different.
Dude, it's like literally. So this is what I was saying. You have the relatives, I'm sure, who have maybe reached out to you in some way about this, being like, "Oh, are things okay? Like, what's going on? You know, it's crazy out there."
Yeah.
I heard. You know, that's kind of what I feel like the actual White House response is a little bit in a way. If you think about it,
it's
like someone at the
literally-
White House, maybe this guy in charge, watching TV, going like, "Wow, things are going crazy. Hey, send in some Marines to help them
He's
out."
like, this looks nuts.
yeah, you know, it's like, whoa, like, dude.
He's not even talking to anybody. He's just watching, like, he's on, like, Reddit or something. He's like,
Yeah,
"This is
I know.
crazy."
That's honestly what feels like what's happening right now.
Yeah.
we should talk about why there's these protests beginning at all to begin with. So I don't know all the details, but essentially ICE is coming in and they have a quota of people to deport every single day. They have to deport around 3,000 people per day, and they're in town for a month doing this. And they're holed up downtown, and they're
That's
just
so funny. Performance quotas, and then someone gets employee of the month, I guess, at the end.
Oh, Jesus.
Christ.
And
Yeah.
so it's like, listen, I don't really want to go down the road of discussing whether or not it's okay to have illegal immigrants in the country and whatnot. And there's like
Obviously,
legal immigrants.
it's not okay to have like just unchecked illegal immigrant. Obviously.
Yeah, but
obviously there needs to be some level of enforcement. It's just the way they're going about it.
And that's the thing
is
that
kind of silly
It's
because
it's purposefully
the
like-
protesting is over the solution that they have, which is to just like arbitrarily choose people that are like illegally immigrant, and they're like ripping apart families. It's like the kids are born in the country. They've like the parents have literally been here 20 or 30 years, and they're like, "Oh, you never actually immigrated here properly, so we're kicking you out."
Well,
And
also,
it's like,
kids are graduating from school right now, and they're literally going into graduations and grabbing
yeah, it's
parents.
really stupid.
Yeah.
I know. It's like saying clean your room, and instead of like cleaning your room, you just go in and you throw everything away.
Burn your room.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like
so
that's
stupid.
that's my problem with it, is that like it doesn't matter what your opinion on illegal immigration is. This isn't the solution to that, and it's also just like it's representative of a much bigger problem behind all of this. There's a lot of like the fascism behind a lot of this stuff, the authoritarianism, and
Yeah, there's the vibes.
The
Once again,
response.
it's once again, it's the it's the attitude towards it, so to speak. Because once again, I don't even think this is really an opinion about illegal immigration thing. I think everyone generally agrees that it's good to enforce immigration policies to some degree here. Like, I mean, obviously there's fringes, but in general, it's like, yes, we want a system that allows people to become citizens and also kicks out people who like are screwing with this country in other ways. You know, like we don't want criminals here too.
Yeah,
But
and
that
they're
being
going
said,
through and they're like cherry picking. They found like something like 14 different actual like criminals that have like a bad past, and they're putting their faces at the front of all of this.
Sure.
Like, see, we
it's
got
like
rid of them.
They literally find 5 people and they're like, oh shoot, we're out of people. I guess it starts
obviously,
the time grabbing like families and stuff, which is what they didn't run on that. You know?
And the other thing is that like there is actually a system in place to get illegal immigrants legal status that was established over the last several years because it's like there's refugees coming in, and it's like you got to get out of your country. There's there's problems there, and you're literally fleeing. That's the whole idea behind refugees, and there's like it's not that hard of a process to get through it. It just takes a while, and it's like anyway. I don't want to get too much into that.
Exactly.
My point is that. People are not happy about it, and ICE is just doing this stuff. So of course protests are starting to happen, and of course anytime you get that, you get a few people. Again, we're talking like the 0.01% of people that are actually attending these protests are starting to get violent. They're starting to like throw Molotov cocktails on cop cars and stuff like that. Yeah. And there's also the whole crowd mentality where it's like everyone's got so many emotions running, and then someone starts bashing on a Waymo and no one else stops it. So some people kind of view that as like condoning it. And then it just kind of like it compounds out of control. It snowballs, you know? And so that's, and then that's when everyone pulls out their cameras and they're like, this is crazy. I've never seen anything so nuts in my life. And then they get a really sick shot, and that skyrockets to the top of Reddit. And now everyone else in the world thinks LA is a war zone.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's just the preponderance of media.
People are getting a lot of good content at those protests too.
Yeah.
There's this one guy with he's got a mask on. He's not wearing a shirt. He's waving a Mexican flag. He's like taking a skateboard, trying to break windows on the Waymo cars and stuff. He's in almost every single one of those photos, but it's the same guy.
Because he looked pretty epic. Like
yeah.
It was like a very photographic, kind of epic looking protester guy.
Oh wait, you made a little render about that guy.
He's the Mexican version of the Jan 6 shaman.
What?
Do you remember him, the American flag guy with the horns and the fur head, the fur hat?
Oh, sure, yeah. But I don't know. I feel like it's a bit of a distraction to
don't
talk about the violence, or just like for all these Democratic politicians on the national stage being like, "Well, we got to stop the violence." It's like this was purposeful by the administration to cause this violence.
Yeah.
You know, they want it. They're distracting from other things. And like, so.
And the administration coming in with the National Guard without California government requesting it is unprecedented. The last time that happened, I think, was in the mid-'60s to protect black voters in Alabama. Or not voters, but like
it was the Little Rock.
I forget what was it? It was people. Like,
it was the kids in Little Rock.
Wait, what are you talking about? Wait.
It was the kids in
The
Little
National
Rock.
Guard got deployed in 2020 to a ton.
But not against the wills of the government, the local
like
government.
the president hasn't jumped over the governor since 1960, and in 1960 it was to enforce the Civil Rights Act.
Yeah, obviously, like I mean, when we're talking about like the actual federal response, obviously it's a cluster. Like obviously, it feels super disorganized, you know. So, I mean. But I just don't think anyone should be surprised at this point either, right?
Yeah,
like,
I think
that's like the given. I think the main point is that the main point is when it comes to like the protests that I've seen in my lifetime, this is actually relatively small. Like over scale wise, honestly, it's. I mean, sure, it's growing, and I see it spreading into more cities, and maybe it's. I'm also saying this in the early stages, like, oh, the first George Floyd protest, like, hey, what's the big deal, you know?
Yeah,
you know, but even still, like, yeah.
Yeah, I went out to some of those in 2020.
Yeah.
Same.
And but this felt a little bit more intense. This was my first time experiencing tear gas, which was nuts.
Which is, again, it's interesting. There wasn't tear gas this early at the George Floyd. You know, it's like they've responded very early with all of
very
this
aggressive
force.
responsing.
So this is the stuff that like gets me amped to possibly do like another Boston Dynamics video. Like honestly, like
what? Oh,
totally.
Right. No, I connected it. I remember now.
Like,
I remember.
I mean, I don't even know if like there's even a reason to make it. Like the only reason I even think about it anymore is just because like the videos did so well and had such an impact. So I'm like, there's got to be a reason to make another one. But in this day of age of like AI video, and I mean, who knows? But even still, it's like these kind of like really intense situations here. It's like, what if we made an ICE Boston Dynamics robot? You know,
Wouldn't that just be like the early part of the movie Elysium?
Yeah. Sure, but it's like a little more realistic.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like the idea of like playing with this idea of people's fears of stuff. I mean, now that I even hear those words coming out of my mouth, I'm like,
Yeah, I'm like, oh.
well,
It's like it's funny, right?
Aren't we like we're getting the real life version already? I don't know.
That's the feeling right now is that you
Elysium,
you
but
can't
IRL.
even make parodies of what's going on or like satire
Yeah.
about what's going on because it's just happening.
Yeah,
And like,
yeah,
yeah.
it's just happening. That's why it's like it's better to do like the home bots, like what, like this the home servant robots that get their ass
dishwasher.
whooped.
How have you guys kept up with any of the like robotics
I
stuff?
mean,
'Cause
passively.
it seems like China is like so far ahead. I saw one.
The
robot
one that
doing
I'm
freaking
paying
There
the
is
most
some
attention to.
crazy stuff out there. Have you heard about like Anduril and stuff? That company.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Oh yeah.
The new Palmer Luckey company.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've
Yeah.
paid a lot of attention to that.
There's
one.
a couple ones too,
Dude,
by
this
the way. There's a couple. They have some competitors, some Taiwanese ones.
I have mixed feelings about Palmer Luckey.
Dude, yeah. It's like all of these guys think they're Iron Man. And they're really just like they're like the super villain of a movie.
I've been in VR since early 2014. I got my first VR headset January 2014. It's been 11 years now that I've been in VR, and Palmer Luckey is the reason for that.
Did
'Cause
you
he
ever
invented
think
it.
he'd be building like death machines?
Technically. No, didn't see that coming.
It's like the craziest
Did
thing.
not see that coming at all. But that being said, like the tech that Anduril's been producing is fascinating stuff, and I'm glad they're on our side.
There we go. It's not bad unless they live in another country.
But I mean, I'm just saying, it's like it's scary stuff. But then it's like so much of it is about border control, and I'm just like, I don't want to go down that path. But yeah,
But seriously, like if you were to make Iron Man today, you could not like Iron Man is only a movie that could be made like right at the dawn of the Obama era and not right now because it's like all these guys are making these like weird tech guys are making weapons, but it's
I know.
It's just the
I know.
inverted-
I know. That's like that's the craziest 21st century thing now, where it's like you're like ex-Meta employees doing defense contracting. Well, I mean, technically they're private, I guess, but
yeah.
I'm trying to find this other one called like Tron Systems or something like
so
that.
the only robot
which is like
that,
a Taiwanese. Oh yeah, Tron.
Okay. The robot I'm paying the most attention to are the dog ones with
Where is it?
wheels.
The dog ones with wheels.
You know, like the four-legged ones that
they
have the
look like,
wheels.
like Boston Dynamics.
Yeah, with
Spot,
like big
Tron
like
Future,
hoverboard
there we
wheels.
go.
wheels.
And the reason why I like, and I've realized those are the future of like ATVs when they get like big and powerful enough, like you can you
yeah.
can ride them. They will be the most ultimate all-terrain vehicle because you just have a motor on every wheel on top of like three actuated joints on each arm to be able to go like the videos I've seen of these. They're going over like cliffs. They're going up all kinds of crazy terrain, going across all stuff without really losing speed. It's not.
Wasn't there one of
Boston
a guy?
Dynamics.
There's a guy like riding on it,
Yeah,
he gets on it.
and he was going very slow, very
Yeah.
slow.
but you could see how that could
yeah,
scale.
that top one, I think. Yeah, are you screen sharing this? Because
Nope.
this is what the heck?
Oh
the heck
great,
is this
political YouTube ads. God, shut
I'm
up.
not showing it.
Political
They can't see
YouTube
it.
ads, great. Anyway, those like so I've been wanting to do a thing because I want to ride one of those things like a board. I want a one wheel, but instead it's
Yeah.
got four wheels on arms. And so, all right, you sharing this?
Yep.
So if you're watching, this is what we're talking about. These things are super agile.
Dude, this is like, what is this, taken outside of Pripyat or something? Like, this is...
Like, look at that. Look at this right here.
Is this like in Fallout? Is this live action Fallout footage?
Look at this. And it's going down that
Handling.
crazy terrain.
Sorry, it looked like it was in the apocalypse for a second.
I mean,
there.
kinda.
I
It
was like,
kind of is.
I was
kinda.
like, it's not in a... Yeah.
And of course, this is going to be slightly
All the
cherry
humans are
picked.
dead. I'm
You know,
having
it's
the best
like-
time of my life.
I'm sure.
This is it. Yeah, this is like the beginning of a Pixar movie.
Yeah, that's Wall-E right there.
Basically, yeah, Wall-E just like parkouring.
Weird.
Like, whee!
Dang.
But it's like, there's that Black Mirror episode with the dogs that would go out and fight stuff. But I think the biggest thing it got wrong is that it didn't have wheels. When you can just put like little wheeled motors on the things, they become an order of magnitude more mobile and agile. When it can do
Yeah.
stuff like this that you think you would just need regular feet for, it's crazy stuff.
That is crazy stuff. Sick.
God, yeah. And so it's like I see this and I'm like, at some point
You think you're gonna
in the
be
near
able to ride
future,
that?
this is going to get more powerful and you'll be able to ride something like this. Imagine just putting bigger motors on it, so it's like literally the size of an ATV, and you're just riding it like a freaking four-wheeler, but you're able to go across all types of terrain like
Yeah, this
this
guy-
at speed.
Gets on.
Dude.
Dude, that's me heading to work, dude.
Oh my god, yeah.
Man, that
That's so
reminds me
sick.
of there's a book, Neil Stevenson book called The Diamond Age.
Okay, yeah.
You
I like
probably
Neil
like read
Stevenson.
Snow
I
Crashes.
haven't
yeah.
read this one.
But it's just like there's in the Diamond Age, like one of the main characters goes off to live in like one of the nicer futuristic communities of the world, and they all have like robotic horses that they ride around. And it was so funny thinking about it because they're like, oh yeah, they're talking about like, oh, I wish I had a real horse. No, but we have these robotic ones that are like really cool still, and like it's like a huge like part of like how they get around, and this kind of reminds me of that. It's like if they're just
Yeah.
like maybe a little bit bigger.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like
Yeah.
this
You know what I'm
scales
saying?
up.
It's
This-
like that's the one you bring on the bus. You know, that's
Yeah.
the one we saw there. That's the one you can hop in the subway with. But
No, these are the ones that just are fully autonomous. They're not meant for carrying anyone. If you want to carry someone, they have to have more power. They have to have bigger motors. and
that's what I'm
stuff like
saying.
that.
Yeah, you want like the slightly beefier, the XL version.
Yeah. But and we've been talking about like the buying a robot or getting someone to send us a robot just to make a make with or something like that because
Yeah.
they're coming down in price.
The amount we
so
could
it's not
vibe
unreasonable.
code on that stuff would be crazy.
Oh my god.
Actually,
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
Like, actually.
yeah,
Yeah.
exoskeletons get a little bit more complicated. People are working like on that, and it's they're making progress.
I
but-
wouldn't want to be the guy testing that out. I'm trying to remember. I think it's in one of the Iron Man movies or
Iron Man
something.
2.
Yeah, Iron Man 2, where a guy gets in the suit and they're like, oh, no, and the
It
head just-
twists.
yeah,
It was the whole body. It was half the body
the
twisted.
torso just like completed as a 180, and it's like, ooh, man, would not be want to be the guy testing out the exoskeletons.
And that was the whole thing about Halo and the lore of Halo is
Yeah.
that like the Mjolnir armor is essentially a powered exoskeleton, and you had to be super strong and durable to be able
Right.
to wield that suit. Only
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Spartans could handle the suit. When they put normal soldiers in there, they didn't have the response time to handle the motion, and they would literally just break their bones by shaking.
Yeah,
And they would die in the suit, and so it was like only the Spartans were capable of wielding them. So that was like
Wow.
a cool thing about Halo.
That's hardcore. Why didn't that make it into the show?
In the
Yeah.
show,
Or the game.
Or I don't know.
did you guys ever watch
I mean,
that
it was
show?
kind of
Is
in
the
the
show a
games.
prequel or was it a
No, it was a
sequel?
prequel. It was.
I thought it was supposed to be. I thought it was supposed to be a prequel.
I mean,
Yeah.
kind of.
Did you watch it?
I watched some of it,
I watched like 4 episodes of it. I was like,
I never-
hate watching it because
watching it, yeah.
but I read all the books, so it's hard for me to discern what's a prequel
dude.
or not.
but it's
Respect. The books.
Last year, I started rereading the books because I was like, man, those were so good. And it turns out it was mostly just nostalgia. They were not as good on the reread.
yeah.
I had to be like, okay, I'm done.
Well, the setup is that it's right before the Covenant, like even like encounter humanity. So it's like you find out, oh, the Spartan were actually like riot police before they were like deployed to, before they became like superheroes. It
Yeah,
was
no, like the whole first book covers all of the Spartans when they were like 5 years old and kidnapped and replaced with flash clones that would die in a couple days, so the parents wouldn't know that their kids are actually still alive.
Yeah.
And they go through all the brutal training and then all the brutal surgeries and augmentations and all of that stuff. It was actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
From
Yeah.
a sci-fi standpoint.
and
That's
like
really funny.
the UNSC
Yeah, it's
is
cool.
kind of like a fascist government before the Covenant actually arrived. So it's kind of
Yeah,
I
it was
wa-
like they were literally made for insurrectionists on
Yeah.
outer planets,
Okay,
outer
this
colonies.
actually gives me 2 things to talk about. The first one is Wren. If you were like slightly more into metal, I would recommend that you listen to one of my personal favorite metal bands of all time.
I'll note it down.
They have an album coming out, I think, in a few days, in a week or two, but their name is Shadow of Intent.
ooh,
That's a sick name.
And do you know what that? It's a reference to
That's
one
the
of
band name?
That's one of
yeah,
the
the band's
ship.
name. It's
That's
one
like
of
a ship, right?
It's one of the ships. I think it's one. I don't know which book it's from. Yeah, just people ask, how do they get their name? Go back. How'd they get
Halo to me is like the best proper noun science fiction, where everything has like a freaking sick proper
that's pretty
noun
cool.
name.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
And they started the band specifically as Halo themed metal. Like all the lyrics and like themes were all about Halo.
What?
They've since kind of
How
like
do I not know this?
they've slightly moved on from that. Like they had one of their most popular songs is called "The Heretic."
Oh hell yeah!
It's so intense. It's like it's very intense, like technical death metal kind of stuff. But it's anyways, they're pretty sweet. So there's that, and then I'm also wondering if with the new Marathon game, if they're actually going to fully do any tiebacks to the Halo world, since I'm pretty sure it's like isn't like the first ship in Halo like
The Pillar of Autumn?
no, not the Pillar of Autumn.
There
like,
is something called Marathon in the Halo universe.
yeah,
right?
like I'm trying to remember like what was that link in the first game.
All right, from the creators.
It was yeah. Well,
I mean, yeah, it's made by Bungie.
I'm trying to remember what that was.
I love the art style.
Yeah,
dude.
Marathon was a '90s game from Bungie. And
Did you
I
guys
guess they're
see the
redoing it now.
trailer they did for Marathon? That was directed by Alberto Miogo, who did the
I did
Yeah.
not see this.
he did the Love, Death, and Robots episodes.
Oh.
Hibaro and
Oh,
the other
okay.
one, I think.
So wait, it's because they called one of the ships. What was it? What was it? Like this? There's like some names and stuff that do have some crossover with the Marathon game. And
it was
Halo.
never canon. Any of the crossover was never really canon. It was always just like Easter egg type.
Oh, it's the Halo
crossover.
symbol. Yeah.
And the rampant AI. Oh, like the
Okay.
343 Guilty Spark and stuff.
Rampancy, a hyper smart like Cortana. That class of AI could only live for 7 years.
Yeah, that was the coolest like plot element of the later games. I feel like the later games didn't really execute on the whole, but I thought it was a really interesting concept to have Cortana become
Rampant.
kind of the bad guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's just not. I don't know. I was kind of the last one I played was Infinite. I hadn't.
I personally really enjoyed Halo Infinite.
Same.
Yeah,
I thought it was a really fun game.
the gameplay was great, but it was just sort of a weird.
The story,
The story has got
Kind
kind
of
of
was-
lost in the
yeah.
weeds. I just feel like those first 3 games, man. I grew up with those games, and
Yeah.
like, dude, Halo 3 to me was like Avengers Endgame.
Oh, Halo 2 was.
When Master Chief teams up with the Arbiter, that was like, that's when like Captain America grabs the hammer in the movie.
Okay, no, hold on. There's a whole article about all the things that, all the references to Marathon that are in Halo.
But specifically to like the Marathon, because Marathon was a game before.
So Marathon was
Yeah.
basically it was kind of like a response, Bungie's response to Doom.
a little bit. Yeah.
Oh.
So
okay.
yeah, basically it's that kind of FPS game where you're on an alien spaceship blasting stuff. I remember playing it really, really young, like when I was like 8 or something like
Really?
that.
Yeah.
And
Wow,
it
okay.
was like freaky. It was like, whoa. It was like hard. Yeah.
Did
Well,
it
maybe
have-
I was just 8 too.
Did it have a similar art style?
Is this
to-
hard or am I just 8?
Was the art style similar to the new version of it, or
Is it similar? It's like it's similar in that it's like space sci-fi. I mean,
Oh, okay.
It's hard to like specifically point things out, but like
because I watched this amazing
Yeah.
video about like the aesthetic of the first Halo game and that like early 2000s like world music and like the African drums and the just like Windows desktop wallpapers, like all of that kind of aesthetic was like really there in that first Halo game, and people are becoming nostalgic for that because it's now been 25 years. You know.
Yeah. So I kind of want to talk about a different gaming
Oh,
thing.
Ren's ready for his flex right now. He's freaking flex.
I have in
dude.
my hands here a Switch 2.
Oh,
Yeah,
jeez, dude.
dropped
Just
the
rub it
Switch
in.
You got,
too.
you get, get a close up on this.
He
You
dropped it
get,
on the
get
Monday
full
morning
screen on
meeting.
this.
hope you got some good single player games for that.
I hope you got a bunch of single player games you play alone.
Although Ren did allow me to play a Grand Prix with him on the
I allowed it.
on the new
I allowed it to happen.
Mario Kart, which was dude, the new Mario Kart's so good.
It's very good. It's a very, very polished game. It's basically all of the good things from Mario Kart 8 made a little bit better. Because
Yeah.
Mario Kart 8 was already a very, very good racing game.
Yeah, yeah.
There's not much you can change or add to that game to like improve upon it. But they did make a couple like small additions that I thought were interesting. I think the biggest one from a racing standpoint is that there's a new type of mechanic that they added that's just a jump. It's just a jump.
Yeah, which is like, but it is like it's a game changer. You know, it's like
Because it's like, you know, if you're into Mario Kart, you know that you can drift. You jump and you
It
apply
goes
a
into a
turn
drift.
and you start drifting that direction, and you kind of that's how you race, is that you're just constantly in this drift mode to get your little speed bursts and to drift around corners and whatnot. But now if you were to jump and hold it without setting a direction, you'll start building a jump charge rather than like a drift charge.
Yeah.
And you can use that to jump up onto rails or onto walls, or just to like get an extra speed boost. So like if I'm in a straightaway and there's nothing around and I'm not drifting, I'll hit the jump button and just start accruing jump boost.
Yeah, it's like you're creating your own boosts.
Yeah, and I'll just hold it down for a moment until I get the boost, and I'll let go, and I'll get a little speed boost, and I can get faster.
But the rail grinding and the wall jumping, it does add like a whole new. I mean, it adds verticality to the game, and then it just adds almost kind of more of an. I mean, it's an open world game in general, but it makes each race like much more of a sandbox, where Mario
Yeah.
Kart 8 is just like you got to hit every drift if you want to win. But now it's like you can get a little creative, which to
It
me
opens
is
the
like,
possibilities, yeah.
It opens up the skill ceiling too. I mean, like it's very early in the game, but to me, like just playing it and watching some gameplay from it, it feels like what Smash Ultimate was to the rest of the Smash games, which
Yeah,
is like take
that's a
this
good-
format and just polish it to like the finest sheen, you know?
And it's not a very large game. There's like 8 or 9 Grand Prix. I think, yeah, 8. I beat all of them, and then it unlocked a new one that I haven't played yet. And I've only done the 100cc so far. I started playing a couple of 150cc's just because I wanted to take my time with it. So I haven't played too much, and I did a little bit of the free roam.
Not because lack of skill or anything. I'm sorry. Yeah, I like how you had to clarify that.
Because I didn't want to go straight into the hardest difficulty and then get through it, and it's like, well, I guess I beat the game in a couple hours.
Yeah, but if you
I'm
do
trying
the
to
hardest
extend
difficulty,
the-
then you get better faster, right? Like the first time you find someone with the Switch 2
You
in a
already
month
got
or
that
two, for
150
3 months
skills set,
down,
dude.
like, Christmas time, you'll be able to beat them.
Well, I'm trying to make it so that I could beat the game in 4 hours instead of 2. That's really what I'm trying to get at.
Great.
But the free roam is interesting. So all the races take place between each of these like little cities, and the free roam is
sweet,
just
man. I want one of
open
these.
world. It's pretty cool. So how did I
find
get a
one.
Switch 2 without pre-ordering, despite trying really hard to pre-order? I put way more effort into trying to get a pre-order for the Switch 2 than I should have.
Murder.
It is really unfortunate for the person I had to murder, but I got it. Yeah, no. So I did the whole official Nintendo thing where you had to like apply to pre-order. You had to meet all these prerequisites. We've talked about this before. My wife just said can verify. And for some reason, I never got an email from them. And by that point, all of the pre-orders through the various stores, Target, Best Buy, etc., they've all sold out of their pre-orders. And so what I did was I found a Best Buy inventory tracking website. And this is over the weekend. And it was just like, oh yeah, this, you put in your zip code or whatever, and it finds all the stores in the area that have inventory of the Switch 2. And there's one in Atwater Village near Glendale, near downtown LA. And I was already going to a friend's house that evening, so I was like, I might as well drop by and see if they have any. And I went in and I asked the people at the back buy the Switch 2 stuff, and they're like, oh, we don't know. You have to check at the front. So I go to the front where you check out at a Best Buy, and I can see some Switch 2s on the shelf behind them. I'm like, oh my God, there it is. But there's a big sign saying pre-orders only. And I was like, dang, okay. So I went to the guy at the front at the checkout line, and I was like, hey, I heard a rumor that you guys got restocked with Switch 2s. And he's like, no, we didn't get any restocks. That won't happen for another month. And I was like, yeah, I know it. But we do have some canceled pre-orders that you can buy. And I was like, tell me more.
Oh, wow.
And so I was like, okay, I'm interested. What do I have to do for this? And he's like, you have to have a Best Buy Plus membership. And I was like, I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
It's like to buy a canceled pre-order.
Yeah. So not just anyone could buy this. You
I
have
didn't
to
even
have
know
a
they
Best.
had Best Buy Plus.
Yeah,
It's a subscription service to buy
Things.
special.
Charging cables.
you get like deals. You get advanced examples like this, where it's like, all right, someone else canceled their pre-order on an item. You get to the front of the line to be able to purchase that canceled pre-order, and that's what I was able to do. But it's $50 a year for Best Buy Plus. And so I bought it. I paid the extra $50
In the store, right?
In the store, right then and there, to get it. And then afterwards, you're able to just cancel your membership. So I got my money back, and it was fine.
So
but
how's
like,
Best Buy Plus treating you?
well, I don't have it anymore. That's what I'm saying.
They've refunded your money? Too?
Yeah.
They refunded your money?
Yeah, because I'm not using it. I just
Well, I thought
canceled
it
it.
just turned off the auto renew.
You like got the Switch and you're like,
I think you
I
still
just
pay it.
canceled it, you idiots. They're like, give it back, no.
No. Yeah, so I was able to get the Switch 2. Didn't expect that to work at all, and it did. And yeah, so if you're wanting to get a Switch 2, I would consider going down that route, perhaps.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about it this weekend, dude. It's so nice. It's like those big iPhones, the pluses that are just freaking massive. It's like that version for the
I have
Switch.
played some Smash on it so far, and it is quite nice. It's a
Yeah.
very large screen.
Yeah, Ron was saying earlier that he's hoping for an open world Smash Brothers. Because that is the running
That
theme.
would be interesting.
Right
That'd
now.
be
is
pretty
Donkey
sweet.
Kong
How
around
would you
just
do that?
encounter
with
people.
Because Smash
open
Bros. is a
world.
2D game.
But you'd travel between in like a
Where you
3D,
just
and then you
buffly
go
walk.
into
You're just
2D
Kazuya
battle.
walking around.
Yeah, and then just like fight.
There's
Buffly
just-
walking. I love that phrase.
But I do. That new Donkey Kong looks amazing.
That new Donkey Kong.
That new Donkey Kong.
I'm not even a Donkey
very
Kong guy,
excited
and
for the
I
new
might
Donkey
be even
Kong.
into it. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
I mean, he's the leader of the bunch.
I
He's
like
the
that type
leader
of like
of the bunch.
voxelized destruction gameplay thing. We saw a lot of that in obviously No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
But that was a very different type of game. So I'm intrigued to see where the Donkey Kong game takes it. Because it reminds me a lot of Mario Odyssey, which was one of my favorite games on the original Switch.
Yeah.
It was so good. I haven't played it in a long time.
I think
but
it
was
might
very
be
good.
the same team.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It might be.
But it might be.
I remember wondering if it was. There were some rumors that it might have been, but I imagine by now that would have been confirmed or denied, and I just haven't heard anything.
I just love that Nintendo, like, because they've committed to the stylized graphics, they don't have to worry about, oh, you can see the scratches on this guy's, pouch, so they put it all into the gameplay, and there's just really cool features where, like, all the destruction that you do in the game is saved, like, for the rest of the game.
Right.
So when you go out to your mini map and look around at your 3D mini map, your destruction is, like, shown on the mini map.
And as far as like the Switch 2 versus the Switch 1, it's just like everything good about the Switch 1 they doubled down on and made better, and everything that was bad about the Switch 1 they tried to fix.
Yeah.
So like the Joy-Cons supposedly are going to be better. Like the whole experience of magnetically taking these things on and off is
that's
very
pretty
good. The
sweet.
kickstand is pretty freaking nice. There's some people saying it's flimsy, but this thing's like metal. It's not going to just break on you. And the experience of like migrating all my games from the Switch 1 to the Switch 2 is really easy. It's just like
Although I'm really annoyed with like how the Switch 1 has all these like pop-ups constantly every time you play a game.
all the whole virtual game card thing is annoying. So like I downloaded Mario Kart when I was at home. Then I went to the park to hang out at the park all day on Sunday, and I brought my Switch 2 with me. And I was excited, and I pull up Mario Kart and it says you can't play because you're not connected to the internet.
What?
Yeah. Because I had to do the whole verification of the virtual game card, despite having already
but you-
downloaded the game.
You hadn't done it yet. So
I hadn't booted it up yet.
So you can do it now.
I think so.
Okay.
I'm pretty
but
sure.
that's still so.
So I was able to play by just tethering to my phone there in the park. So it wasn't
like-
that big of a deal, but it was just kind of like,
Jeez.
that kind of sucks.
But once you
What
do
if
it
I was on an
once-
airplane? You know,
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
and there wasn't any internet. I would have just been like, well, so much for this paperweight. Dang.
Unfortunately, there's internet on airplanes too.
Not all the
That's-
time. Not all the
that's
time.
Nintendo
Depending on the
excuse.
airplane,
Well,
for
yeah,
sure.
I guess so.
Yeah.
It really
But-
depends on the airline. Usually there's
I played,
internet on Delta, which is
I
what
played
I usually fly.
Helldivers too on Delta Wi-Fi,
Hell yeah.
What?
and it actually worked.
Really?
Yeah, like with my Steam Deck. Yeah, it was really funny. Like it was just enough internet for me to play locally. Like basically, I was effectively hosting, so it was just me, no other players. But
Okay.
it was online enough for like the game to boot and.
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
work.
because you have to play it. online.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say I've never considered actually like playing against other people with like live packets on the internet type stuff.
Yeah, not that.
Transferring.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. I mean, like, I get that there's a level of convenience with it, but even still, it's so nice having like all the actual cartridges for the Switch 1. And like, I converted to that, a few years ago of just like, okay, let's actually get the games
I
so
did
that way I
that.
can like resell them.
I started it that
Yeah.
way too.
So
I've never been able to resell anything. I'm bad about returning items.
you just
that
pop it on
I
eBay,
need to
dude,
return.
and like it's like it goes. You pop the game in
Ship
an
it.
envelope. It's out. It's like
You just described the very specific, easy things to do that my brain just cannot fathom ever doing.
Oh,
Dude.
me too. Yeah.
I've saved probably over the last 5 years at least $200. I mean, Just saying.
You can sign up for Best Buy Plus, dude.
Yeah.
For a few years.
Yeah.
Wait, do the Switch 1 cartridges fit into the Switch 2?
I believe they do.
Because like, would all my games be worthless if I got a Switch 2?
I think so. So I haven't actually even opened this thing because
And you were able to transfer over like a bunch of your games to
all of them.
the Switch. Okay.
Every single one of them.
Because I remember they were talking about these Switch 2 versions of like.
So that's the other thing. So like it's a $10 upgrade to get like Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom upgraded for the Switch 2,
Oh, wow.
but they still work. Like I
Like
can
you could
boot
play,
up.
yeah,
Oh, it's the same cartridge, right? It looks like it.
I'm pretty sure it's the
Yeah,
same
'cause that would
cartridge.
suck, 'cause I
It's just
did-
the Switch 2 ones I think are red. But yeah, so
There's like a couple like really small changes, but it looks like they should fit.
I think they fit. It'd be weird if they
Because that
didn't.
would suck. Because I did the same thing Sam and bought a bunch of hard copies.
But yeah, so like those
Yeah.
upgraded games, they basically just like you pay $10 to get nicer graphics and
I feel
better
like-
frame rate.
Do you guys
And I'm
think?
like,
I feel like because remember, there's this whole like Nintendo announced the price of the Switch 2, and then all the tariffs hit, and then they were kind of like, we're gonna take a
dang it.
little break real quick, and then
Yeah.
everybody's like, oh, it's gonna be $600. Came back, same price, but I feel
Except-
like because
all the accessories got it more expensive.
they got more expensive, but and then that gets to I think all the games are gonna be
Yeah.
Yeah.
$80-$90.
Honestly,
because-
I'm low key surprised the games haven't been charging that much as a baseline for a while now.
yeah.
Like,
because
if you think about like how much inflation we've had just over the last few years, and the fact that games have been $60 for like
A long
20
time.
years, like the value on a per game basis has been going down. Even though like, and I think that's only been sustainable to a degree because of like online games, I'm downloadable
Yeah.
games. I mean, you don't have to put all the extra margins into like the physical copies and stuff, but yeah, at the same time, it's like games are so much cheaper now than they were 10 years ago or 20 years ago.
Yeah, somebody was talking about there was like one of the Chrono Trigger games. If you like adjusted for inflation, it was like $140. But it does feel like they took the L on the Switch price, and they'll have to they might even up it. Like they might all become $90.
The
you know?
games?
The games, yeah,
Right.
in the next couple of years.
That would
because
be pretty high.
They
I mean,
have to make
a
up
lot.
for because there's a huge. I think like game consoles are always a loss leader for the company, but like I think this is going to be like big time for Nintendo. But it bums me out with some of the decisions Nintendo's been making because like they've always been the one company that's like, okay, yeah, we're about profits, but we're also like we are like for the fans, and this is like we have this closed environment of like hardcore Nintendo people who always buy our stuff. But I feel like there's been a few things that feels a little predatory.
But at the same time, I don't know what their books look like, I don't know how hard it is. Maybe they're like, we have no choice. We have to sell this game at $80 if we want to not have to like lay off employees.
Also, the economy in Japan's pretty bad right now. I feel like people don't think about that. Like Japan's experiencing like massive inflation right now for the first time in like 40 years
Really?
or something.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So people forget that it's not like it's a Japanese company, so they're also responding to their own incentives.
But yeah, as far as like $80 games, I do think Nintendo made every other game publisher out there go, oh, thank God. We didn't have to be the first ones to do it, but they are certainly going to follow suit.
yeah.
I mean, they were already also doing that with like the deluxe editions, It's like
Yeah.
you have the new $60 game, but if you get the $70 version, you get a bunch of like new skins for your character in game or various other extras. If you pay $80, you get the extra special version.
Yeah.
And it's like I rarely go for those
Yeah.
unless it's like something I'm super freaking into. But yeah.
Yeah, but again, I think Nintendo, in my opinion, does try to make it worth it by investing in the actual gameplay experience, whereas I feel like a lot of the other companies, they're investing in the graphics, the like cosmetic stuff to make it feel like a $80, $90 game. They give you a big giant open world that's empty, but like although I feel like that's a little bit of the new Mario Kart was like, let's throw in an open world to make it feel like a more expensive game.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's their mindset though. I don't think they're doing anything to make it feel like a more expensive game
Horse
specifically.
DLC, yeah, horse armor.
Oh yeah.
That's what I'm into. That's what I spend the money on.
I think that was one of the first examples of like in-game priced DLC. It was the horse armor for Oblivion back in the day.
Does
Wasn't
the new game launch with horse armor?
The new game launches with a button that says "Buy the horse armor," and I'm like, no, I'm not buying the damn horse armor. I don't even ride the horses.
You have to buy the horse armor.
No,
in the
you
new game?
don't. You don't.
Oh, okay.
Like, and I'm never gonna buy the horse armor because I never even used the horses in Oblivion because they added sprint.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I played Oblivion a decent amount, and by a decent amount, I don't know, maybe like 15, 20 hours worth before I kind of got bored, and I moved on to Doom. Doom: The
bored at
Dark
all.
Ages is easily
I'm
my
still at
favorite
50
game I've
hours.
played in a long time.
I played the remastered one again this morning. It's so good. It's my favorite game. That's all I have to say. Moving on.
I think everyone should try the new Doom game. I hadn't played 2016 or Doom
Yeah.
Eternal, but the new Doom game is just so much fun. It's just pure fun. They've like streamlined all the mechanics of doing that. Also,
Do you
Jenna
like the
really
Doom
likes the
soundtrack?
soundtrack.
Dude, that's the best part of Doom. They're just metal music and destruction.
Everyone complains that they lost the great composer from the first Doom game in 2016, and so Eternal sucked because they didn't have the music, but I don't care. The new Doom game music, I think, is pretty good.
Sick.
Well, and it has to
around with
match the
some-
period a little bit because it's like a medieval game, right?
Yeah, and I don't understand the story at all, to be clear. The story is incredibly confusing. It's sick. It's super sick.
Scientists opened up a portal to hell, and you have to kill God.
But this is like on a
Yeah,
different
essentially.
planet. There's aliens and all this other stuff, and there's like these humans that are super hyper advanced, but it's also in the past. And
Oh, weird.
like at the end of this game,
Someone time traveled.
but like the Doomslayer, I guess, gets trapped in hell for like 1,000,000 years, and then
That's sick.
the next game is Doom 2016.
I love that.
I think that's I don't know. I've got like 3 more chapters out
Don't
of 22.
overthink it. Like that's
I'm
what
not.
it's
That's
like
what I'm
the
saying.
5-year-old plot.
Yeah.
You know, it's the 5-year-old writer.
It's
He went to hell for 1,000,000 years, and then he came back, and what happened in between? Don't.
Who cares?
Anyway, moving
No, the
on.
guys writing it, like
there's a
I watched
spaceship.
some interviews, like they laugh about the story while they're like talking
That's
about
sweet. No, but I love that attitude. That's
Yeah,
the ape
but
shit
it's
energy.
dope.
Attitude.
That's the thing, is that like the execution of the story is so cool. There's a giant like skyscraper-sized Cthulhu that you unlock.
Oh, heck yeah.
And
What do you
you
mean you
break him out of
unlock?
prison, and then he swallows you, and you get inside of him, and you're fighting all these things, and then to defeat it, you have to literally blow up his heart, and you
Cool.
like all
fucking
this
sick.
stuff.
It's
It's
just sick.
super dope.
That's sick.
And they have like freaking Jaegers that you're flying around in that literally look like they're straight out of Pacific Rim. There's a dragon that is also a fighter jet.
it. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's sick.
Sick.
It's like he got hurt and he lost his wings, and so they rebuilt him with tech.
That's a little
And-
random. That's really pushing it. That's like now is this Doom or is this Kung Fury?
I was
you know?
about to say, yeah, it's,
You know,
It's a little on the Kung Fury
It's
side
like
in that regard.
It needs to. They need to darken it a little bit,
Right.
To make
but
it.
the vibe
Doom.
is very
There's
Yeah.
like
the
a
vibe
line.
the vibe is very Dark Ages.
Yeah.
There's a line with you. It can't be full on like
You can't
self-parody.
ride a T-Rex in Doom,
Yeah.
but you can rebuild it.
He's like a cyber dragon. He's got like these like lightsaber wings and stuff. It's cool.
Okay.
But I will say the,
Oh, I
the
don't
dragon
know. Ooh, that's
flying
scaring
stuff
me. That's
is,
scaring me.
It's
You
a
had
lit-
me. You said I spent 1,000,000 years in hell. Okay, I'm on board. But yeah,
Now we're fine.
the T-Rex lightsaber dragon wings. I don't know.
See, Sam has a refined metal palate.
Yeah.
You know,
So we were talking about the Creator Clash opening theme, and I started like playing around with like a new like a drum kit VST that came out that has like the slappiest drums. So I made a song the other last weekend, just for fun. Like has nothing to do with you, but
Okay.
it was just like I was just trying to like go like, all right, what can I make like the heaviest song I've ever made with this stuff, and I think it actually turned out really well. I'll share it with you, but it's
Oh, fuck
it's,
yeah.
it's or you should just play it.
I'm gonna play it.
Dude,
I
just
have it in
it's
the
it's on the metal
You
chat.
have it?
It's on it's in our metal chat.
Yeah, we have a metal
You have a metal chat?
There's a secret Discord metal chat we have.
like the
pull it up.
Discord?
It's pretty cool. Well, no, I sent it to Jan. He said it sounded like Doom music, and I'm like, okay,
I have a metal question after we play this.
it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I got it right here.
It's called Smackers
Smackers.
Test.
Smackers.
it,
Get this to play.
it truly is. They are some smackers.
And for everyone listening to the podcast, you also get to enjoy it with everyone else.
Dude,
It's not just
Tell
a
me
video
I
we're
think
playing.
this smacks. It smacks. It doesn't slap. That's
This doesn't slap, it smacks.
The cut above.
yeah.
Oh yeah, this is Doom, dude.
Yeah. It's pretty intense.
I am
Dude, that's
on board.
friggin'
Yeah, I'm killing
heavy,
aliens
dude.
I
right
am
now.
on board.
That's
This
heavy.
dude, this legitimately sounds like I'm playing the Doom to the Dark Ages right now.
It's pretty sick, right? Everyone says louder.
Louder.
Just distortion.
Yeah. So that's all it is.
It's sick.
Just some sick riffs. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
So how do you make something like this?
You just
So you have like a drum
Smack
kit.
your
So you're
drums,
playing the
dude.
piano to play the drums,
yeah.
and then you're like, is this like live recorded, or are you doing it like through sequencing?
So previously, so this is actually like, so I've got this album that I'm almost done with, and like we're just like wrapping up one last track with vocals right now. But the way I recorded that album though was one specific way where I would like hard bake the guitar sounds. So like when you play the guitar, the sound that I'm hearing while I'm playing it is what's being recorded, and that's that. So what happens in a lot of modern mixing and production now is basically you're not actually recording the sound you're hearing, you're just recording the direct input that's coming out of the guitar.
Sure.
So that way you can filter it and mess
Oh,
with
I
it
see.
later.
Yeah,
And
okay.
so I kind of went down that rabbit hole of like going, what's like the computer guy like version of this, rather than like baking my bass and guitar sound, like how do I keep this so I can like record everything and then always just tweak the sound of everything. So that's using like
like
some-
shooting in RAW for music.
basically. So basically that was I was like, all right, let's do that with the guitars, so that way I can like I can like really fine tune the sound of it as I worked on it. And then also I used like fake bass for the first time instead of playing the actual bass. That's a keyboard bass.
Okay.
Guitar samples, or yeah, bass guitar samples. And then
Purists love to hate on samples like that, but I've never
because I've
had a
always used
problem
drum
with it.
samples. Like I don't have a space for a drum kit or a place to record that, so I use sample drums.
Yeah.
And then these are just like some of the best sample drums that they're called like. I'm not. If anyone's interested, they're the old Odahome Audio drums, which are.
Odahome?
If you know who he is, you realize he's the drum guy right now. He is the best drum guy in the world.
Whoa.
That's why his sample pack sounds like that, because they are like, he's specifically the big drum guy. He's really cool. Anyways,
Can I ask my metal question real quick?
anyway, so that's it. So that's sorry. It's yes,
No.
It's hard, it's hard to describe it as succinctly as possible. Okay, yeah. What's up?
I had a friend who told me that metal is just classical music with electric instruments. Is that true?
Oh,
would say
Mike.
that's-
Sam, your mic. I think you're. Yeah. Sweet.
Yeah, classical. Yeah, I mean, yeah, totally. Yes and no, but it's I
Because he
think-
was saying it's like a separate tradition from like rock is like the blues and stuff like that, and like the DNA of metal is like classical music.
I think the DNA of metal is definitely closer to classical for a lot of stuff. I mean, it depends, but it really kind of depends on which genre we're talking about. Because if we're talking about like neoclassical stuff in the 80s or some progressive stuff in the 70s, like yeah, you could definitely see that split. But at the same time, you know, you look at Metallica or like a lot of more traditional metal bands and stuff, and they're totally using the same blues chords and riff pentatonic stuff. So I mean, that stuff that I just did, that's definitely obviously more classical inspired, because you know it's like
Yeah, you can imagine that with the violin.
using
the whole
some
orchestra.
choir and stuff in there, blah blah blah. You know,
Totally.
yeah. But I mean, I would say yes, and that's definitely the camp I fall into too. Is like a little more classical.
Because I feel like you are always, I always see you like categorizing things like that's not quite metal, that's metal. I feel like you're the
Yeah.
priest of metal.
Well, it's like that's like rock. There's rock,
yeah.
you know, and there's like hard rock, and then there's heavy metal, you know, so to speak. And those all are kind of actually there. There's kind of this divide, yeah, where you have it's like very rock and roll inspired or have rock and roll roots on one side, and then there's like this divide where it's like, okay, no, like rock and roll is totally not part of what we're doing anymore. It's
Yeah.
like, sure, we're still using guitars and a drum set, but when it comes to the actual like melodic elements or the riffs or whatever you're doing, like you've completely moved on from that world.
And
of,
there's
like,
also an aesthetic to it, right? Like there's an aesthetic piece that I've seen you respond to as well. Like what was that music video you guys watching on React? The insane,
The Ronald one.
Oh, Ronald
Yeah.
Fallen
Yeah.
Universe.
and you're like, this was metal. I
Yeah,
saw
that's
you-
totally metal.
Yeah,
It's totally a metal. Yeah.
but aesthetically, right? Like
Well, aesthetically, yeah, I guess that one in particular is tough because it's like almost an emo band. The
Right.
band was an emo band, and then it's like even their current album is still kind of emo, but that one is specifically metal because it's not musical anymore, so to speak. Like they've let go of like chords and melody for like this track, and it's more about like rhythmic elements and using guitars not as musical melodic instruments anymore, but of like complements to the drum set basically.
I'm a big fan of all of the metal sound, you know, but it's when they start like the what do you call the screaming?
Screaming?
Yeah, just screaming, right? I'm less a
Harsh
fan of
vocals is
harsh vocals
it was
is-
harsh vocals.
I would say.
It's like
Yeah.
I don't hate it, but I'm just like I'm less of a fan of that, and I think that's why I'm liking the doom music so much, is because there's
No
none
lyrics.
of that.
It's instrumental, yeah.
Yeah, instrumental metal. Instrumental.
That's funny, and just for that exact reason, a lot of bands still they still put out instrumental versions of their albums pretty frequently still
Okay.
to
Increase
to
their fan
specifically
base.
be like, oh yeah, if you don't like our singer, which is kind of funny if you think about that from a creative band standpoint. It's like the whole band records this track, it's like sweet song. Now we're gonna release a version without you, so we all did a great job except your part we're gonna mute.
A bunch of people don't like you, huh?
It's like if we're to do like VFX artist react, and I'm just like painted out of the middle, and it's just like every now and then there's just silence because I'm talking.
Yeah, yeah. We that's the special. Yeah, the second channel, which is just someone muted, because some people just prefer to not listen to that one guy, but they love the show.
Oh man, dude, I'm super excited to hear some more metal sounds potentially for this Creator Clash, which by the way got delayed a lot.
Got delayed.
The Creator Clash has been a whole
Yeah.
thing. It's been a whole thing. We've talked about it a little bit here on the podcast before. I remember in the past talking about how like iDubbbz did some drama
Yep.
stuff, and then that got clipped, and that went viral on Twitter on the H3H3 subreddit, and I ended up getting way more involved in the drama than I ever had any interest in being involved in. And then some things happened outside of that. The event was basically not doing super well, and so they ended up changing the venue and changing the date. And so it is no longer taking place in Florida at the end of this month. It is now going to take place in Los Angeles at the end of October.
Yep.
October 25th at the Hollywood Palladium, which is a pretty sick venue, by the way. I've been there a few times. Is where I'm going to be boxing. I'm still in it, but they delayed it 4 months. And that was really hard to handle from like an emotional standpoint, because I was literally in the middle of like my final sprint. I was 40 days out from the event. I was working
of training,
every
yeah.
single day. Yeah, training. It was like my entire life. And it's not just like the training effort, it's the time surrounding it. It was all of the time, because like I have training across the city. It would take me an hour to drive there, and then like 30 to 45 minutes to drive home. So I was always spending more time
Yeah, I did
driving
that drive
and training.
because you were like, "Oh, this thing's over in the same place I train." I did that drive. I was like, "Wren's doing this every day."
Yeah.
Dang,
It was
dude.
rough, dude. And it's like I have an electric car, and so I always just charge from a wall outlet at home, which charges very slowly. I get like 3 miles an hour charge, which when I'm normally just driving to work and back, it's like 30 miles a day. I can get about 30 to 40 miles of charge overnight. So I was usually always in a very good spot, but I was getting to a point where I was having to like fast charge once or twice a week because I wasn't getting enough charge at home, because I don't own my home, so I'm not installing like a nice high-speed charger there. So wall outlet has served me fine for the last 7 years. Anyway, I was in the middle of all that sprinting and all that trying, and then hearing that it got delayed 4 months, it put me in the same position looking at the fight from January. Like beginning of January,
Ooh,
looking at a
man.
fight at the end of June, I'm like, that's 5.5 months out.
Yeah.
And when they made the change, we were 40 days out. It was suddenly another 5.5 months out of just like, so I immediately stopped training, and I haven't trained again. And it's been 3.5 weeks since I stopped training boxing. I've continued to weightlift. I've been doing that. I've also started training running, because I'm apparently now doing a running race in Seattle this weekend.
Oh shoot.
Yeah, I'm flying up to Seattle to run a 12K with my
A
sister.
running race.
A running race.
a running race.
I'm running in a
Yeah,
running
I'm
race.
running a 12K this weekend in Seattle. It's like the Point Defiance.
Well, and I'm sure the boxing
race.
has given you really good cardio.
It has, yeah. And so that was the thing is that like I started training and my hips gave out.
Oh, jeez.
Because they were not used to that type of effort, but my lungs were totally fine. My cardio was fine. Anyway, if you're curious, I'm still boxing against Trevor Evarts from Smosh / Mythical Kitchen, for those questions out there. Yeah, so I'm actually gonna restart my boxing training today.
Oh,
Tonight
nice.
after work is my first day back, and
Nice, dude.
we're gonna take it light for the next couple months, just like a couple times a week, because I don't want to continue investing all that time.
And then, ramp
And
up
then
right before the fight.
and then start getting back into fight camp and whatnot. Yeah, so we'll talk more about that later at a future date, but I'm still in it. It's just taking a backseat for the time being.
I mean, the cool thing is that you got to get into like the best shape of your life.
Yeah,
I know.
yeah, and it's like more time to get shredded now.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
Now we all noticed, dude. Ren pops on a freaking tank top sometimes, and it's like, whoa.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
getting there.
Well, guys, we should probably wrap up our
the after
podcast.
show, yeah.
And another thing
And
I really
after
wanted to
show.
talk about today, we didn't even get to, is our satisfying renders.
Well, is there? What else do we have
There's
to
a
say?
whole
Other
video.
than go on Instagram, go to our Instagram
see how
account,
many views we
and
got.
just kind of glance at the renders that we posted.
Jesus.
Because I think that's all. That's all I want to say. Like, discover it for yourself because it'll blow your mind.
Well, okay,
Yeah.
I do want to bring it up specifically because when I posted it on a Sunday,
He wants to brag. That's
He wants
what
to
he
brag.
wants
He
to
wants
do.
to brag. All right,
I
this
mean,
is
a
where
little bit.
we're wrapping it up.
It's
All right.
less bragging
the
and
encore.
more about just like how the heck, because this hasn't happened to me for 4 years,
Yeah.
where I had something
Wow,
go
that's another
ultra
humble brag.
hyper
It's
viral.
been 4 years since I got
It's been
hundreds
4
of
years
millions
since
of
my
views.
last insane multi-million viral, multi-billion.
I posted this on a Sunday, and one of the first comments I got was saying 150 million views guaranteed. And I was like, that's really kind of you that you think this is going to go that viral. And then it did. It hit that number last night. It got 150 million views on Instagram.
Yeah, you know it's good when other people rip it and re-upload it too.
Yeah. I mean,
That's when you've made
No.
it.
Yeah.
You know it's good when you start seeing other renders that are inspired by it. That are like,
Oh, wow.
I've seen at least
You've
two
seen
other
other
bubble
bubble
wrap
wrap?
renders.
Dang,
And I
dude.
saw the same thing with the puzzle pieces. I started seeing other people do like puzzle piece renders, and none of them are as good as mine.
They all suck.
They all suck. No, I'm playing. They're actually not that bad. It's just interesting. It's very, yeah. It's just anyway. None of us saw that coming. I certainly didn't. I thought it might do all right, but
I mean, yeah, I think we all expected Ren would be the most likely to get hundreds of millions of views.
It was a real straight shot there. It was like it's clean. It's also
your
like infinite money glitch. It's an infinite money glitch
oh,
render.
you want to know how much money I made off that short? By the way,
$1.
Nuts.
not even. $0.00 is how much money I made off of 150 million views.
Yeah, being
no,
an
it's-
influencer is a lie. Don't do it. Oh, actually, no. Actually, you need to do it every week and then run do sponsorship. So you need to do Mercedes.
Instagram ain't it?
You need to do a Heinz thing.
Yeah, no, the thing about Instagram Reels is that, like, you have to, in order to be eligible to make bonuses, to make money on the platform, you have to post 20 times on Facebook and 10 times on Instagram per month
It's a lot.
in order to be eligible to make money.
Dang, dude.
And
Well-
if you're to do that, then you're eligible to make up to $5,000 over the course of 90 days.
But you know what? You made Zuckerberg a couple, more dollars. So we did him a
I mean, it's the
service,
same
you
thing.
know?
I made $0 on my puzzle piece render on TikTok too, so it's like whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not in it for that specific type of monetization. It's just kind of a cool thing. Anyway, satisfying renders.
Well, guess
I
what
feel like
Mark Zuckerberg gave us? Top secret AI algorithms that we're not going to talk about today.
Oh,
Maybe-
yeah.
But on the after show, we'll talk about it on quarterdigital.com.
Wait, are
Yeah.
you talking about?
Yeah, we'll talk about the video that we filmed yesterday. Just a little bit. I don't want to spoil it.
Just a taste.
But I'm just going to say that, yeah, all the data that they've been scraping from us, all the uploads to Instagram.
It's caused us to scrape
Yeah,
different kind of things.
we've scraped them back. No, and we've scraped each other a little bit.
But okay, quarterdigital.com.
Yeah,
Yeah.
come on over to
No, yeah,
quarterdigital.com
this is
if
cool.
you want to hear about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
we're
comes
gonna-
out this weekend.
Yeah, that's right. That video does come out this
It's
weekend.
coming out this weekend.
Oh, it does? Oh, wow.
There's a video coming out this weekend. Well, let's just say we've created a surveillance state within the studio. And it was,
panopticon.
but yeah, it was for good though.
For the
As
greater
most
good.
startup.
For the greater good of
All
Big
right.
It was for the
Brother.
greater good, and it
See
actually
you
worked.
later, YouTube.
So we're gonna end the YouTube live stream here, and of course we're also gonna end the actual podcast that you're listening to. But we're gonna have a little bit of an after show here on quarterdigital.com.
We're gonna
come check it out.
decompress. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell
bit of a cool
our
down.
true feelings about this whole protest thing that happened.
All right, bye, YouTube.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for watching.
Laters.
3, 2, 1.